Welcome to Build an Ecosystem to Drive Accessible Technology. My name is Laurie Allen, and I'm an accessibility technology evangelist here at Microsoft. I'm joined today by Mark Applin from Signly, Laurel Christensen from GN Audio, and Jesper Henriksen from Be My Eyes. Delivering meaningful technologies for people with disabilities requires the expertise of assistive technology providers across the industry. Today, we'll meet key players in product development and third-party assistive technology companies who collaborate for greater impact. We'll talk about the importance of partnerships to create better solutions for people with disabilities, and we'll learn about what's coming next. I'm excited to learn about what's been developed recently, and I'm even more excited to hear about what's coming soon. I think you will be too. I'll first turn to you, Laurel. So let's start with your role, and then tell us what you've been working on recently.
Thanks, Laurie. So I'm Laurel Christensen. I am the Chief Audiology Officer at GN Hearing. So GN Hearing is a manufacturer of hearing aids. So we develop and manufacture hearing aids. And I think one of the things to know right away is that hearing aid technology, if you're not familiar with it, is quite sophisticated. Over the years, especially over the last 10 plus years, there have been huge advancements in hearing aid technologies. Today, hearing aids are extremely small. They have good sound quality, and they help people listen in many environments, including environments with noise. One of the things that has changed over the years with hearing aids is connectivity. So end users, people with hearing loss, want their hearing aids to connect wirelessly to their smartphones, to their tablets, and to their computers. It's actually a fact that direct connection to smartphones, tablets, and computers is one of the top 3 satisfaction drivers for hearing aids. So what we've been working on recently is really exciting. We have a new hearing aid called Resound Nexia, and it has the new Bluetooth Low Energy Audio protocol. So this is a new Bluetooth protocol that will actually one day replace the standard classic Bluetooth that is on the market today that we're all very familiar with. One of the things with Bluetooth Low Energy Audio is that it has clearer sound quality, it has lower battery consumption, and a lower latency or delay when compared to the classic Bluetooth. So for hearing aid development, that's incredibly important. We need extremely low power consumption to run our hearing aids. We need to ensure that the signal processing inside the hearing aid works and that we can connect and stream to other sources like the phone or like the computer. And we need to do it in a very efficient power consumption way. So, we try to do that on one charge for a rechargeable hearing aid or get 3 or 4 days out of a hearing aid on a battery. So our partnership with Microsoft has been specifically around their work to give low energy audio support to Windows. And so in essence, with low energy support to Windows, hearing aid users with hearing aids that have low energy audio protocols in them will be able to connect wirelessly to their computers and actually to really any modern PC. So, this is going to be a huge advancement where people can have their Teams calls just like we are today and have their hearing aids in their ears at the same time. So really for people with hearing loss, this is a huge jump forward and something that they've been asking for.
That's amazing. It sounds like a much more seamless user experience for people using hearing aids. That's great, Laurel. Thank you.
Thanks.
And Jesper, let's move over to you. Tell us a little bit about your role, and then let's talk about the Be My Eyes app and why it's important for the community.
Sure. Thanks, Laurie. I'm Jesper, and I'm the CTO at Be My Eyes. So Be My Eyes is an app that was founded by Hans-Jørgen Wiberg, who is a Danish craftsman, and he's legally blind. And about 10 years ago, he figured out that there had to be a better way than to FaceTime the same few people every time he had a task where he needed to lend a pair of eyes for a task that he had at hand. So he founded Be My Eyes on the idea of giving blind and low vision people access to visual assistance through a community of volunteers via an app on your smartphone. And today we have over 600,000 blind and low vision users who are supported by more than 7 million volunteers. And the way the app works is that through a one-way video call and a two-way audio call, the volunteer can then lend their eyes to the person making the call. And it's used for everything from finding out the expiration date on milk, to sorting your laundry, to assembling furniture, and even computer gaming. So there's like a wide range of use cases, and it is what our community is telling us is that it is super important for their independence, and they're just getting on with their daily lives as easily as they can.
That's great, Jesper. And can you tell us how we can become sighted volunteers?
Definitely. So you can download the app on your smartphone. We're available both on the App Store and the Play Store. Just go download it. It takes a minute to sign up, and you can become a volunteer. And then within a week or a couple of weeks, you should get your first call. People often wonder, how many calls will I get? You don't get calls every other minute or every other hour. You get a few calls, every quarter maybe. Yeah, it's kind of low volume, again, because we have 7 million volunteers.
That's great. And I have to say, I get really excited when I see my Be My Eyes app pop up on my phone. So Mark, over to you. Talk a little bit about your role and then tell us about Signly.
So yes, hi Laurie, I'm Mark Applin, Chief Everything Officer at Signly. Signly is a low-code widget that allows deaf sign language users to view an InVision sign language translator. So we sit on Microsoft Azure, super quick to add Signly to a website. It's about 5 or 10 minutes work to drop our code into the content management system of the website. That enables Signly to extract the text from a site, fire it straight to the home studio of highly qualified deaf translators. So they're real people, not avatars. They translate the content. They can send it for peer moderation or just send it straight up into Azure to be immediately available on the website. It also allows deaf people to request translation on pages that we might not have got to yet. So it very much puts the user in control. Let me show you our first integration with the UK's biggest bank, Lloyds Bank.
In this screen capture video, we see the homepage for the Lloyds Bank website. It has a green color scheme and features a large image of a smiling child being held by an adult. In the bottom right corner, a small Signly box pops up. It shows a still image of a woman signing in BSL, with text below her that reads, "Swipe or hover over text to play sign language translation." A mouse arrow appears and clicks the plus sign at the top of the Signly box. The box gets slightly larger. The mouse then clicks the minus sign, and the box returns to its original size. The mouse arrow moves over to the main part of the web page and clicks a box of text reading with any Club Lloyds account. You could get an exclusive discount of 0.2% off the initial mortgage rate. Down in the Signly box, a video plays of a different interpreter signing this information.
I guess what often happens when we show Signly is people like the idea, but our most frequently asked question is, well, surely deaf people can just read the text. And indeed, some of them can. But I think it's also useful to bear in mind what one user said. She said, look, I was born deaf. I've never heard English. I'm not oral. I don't speak English. All of my education's in sign language, not in English. And I can't acquire English if I want to, because I'm deaf. So how is it that everyone says English is my second language? And once you look at it through that lens, it's no wonder that when you do research with people that use sign language and say, how do you want us to communicate with you? They say, in sign language, because that's my first language. And for some, their only language.
I think that's a really important point. So thank you for highlighting that. So sticking with you for a minute, Mark, I know partnerships are really important to each of you, and they help you extend your reach, help you build on the great work that you're doing, whether it's partnering with other organizations or co-creating with the disability community. So Mark, can you talk a little bit about why partnerships are important to your work?
Well, first of all, because we're a tiny team. So there's only 2 engineers, a team of 10 deaf translators. So we need to leverage partnership to get that reach. It's really important also to work with people and organisations that get what you get. You need that energy, that gas in the tank. And so working with people like Microsoft, we kind of get that. It's really easy to work with organizations that have the right culture, enables us to leverage networks and spread the word about what we're doing. Because, I mean, the mission that we face is absolutely vast. Our mission is sign language everywhere, and we're a tiny team. So it's great to have partners that are super supportive, are able to make introductions, give us guidance and feedback. As you mentioned, we've got a big team of deaf translators. So literally, every day we're chatting to our deaf colleagues about what we're trying to do, but also regularly talking to our audience who use the product. It's just not difficult. Just keep talking to them and they will tell you quite openly and willingly what they need. And then we go away, build. So that's just how it is.
That's excellent. Jesper, can you talk a little bit about the work that you've done with the Microsoft Disability Answer Desk? And for context, this is a free service for people with disabilities to get support for Windows, Office, and Xbox.
Yes, of course. So like Microsoft is a longtime customer of Be My Eyes and a longtime partner of ours. And they've helped shape the product that we have that companies like Microsoft use for supporting their customers who are blind or have low vision. And it works or integrates in their support desk, their contact center, which is called the Disability Answer Desk, as you said. And it's a huge part of how we keep the service and the app free for our end users. This is effectively one of the only ways of funding that we have. And so, due to Microsoft and the other corporations that we have as partners, we're able to keep it free. We put also our AI products into the front of Microsoft customers. Called the Be My AI is now there. So if you go in and want to get support from Microsoft, you will now start with an AI chatbot that in many cases can actually help you resolve the issue there without even going to a live human. We're seeing a 90% success rate. So that means that like 9 out of 10 people who go to the chatbot don't escalate to a call to a human and get their problem solved even faster. But the gist of it for us is, and the reason we're also offering this as a product for enterprises, is that it allows them to give support way better and much faster. Just imagine like you are a support agent on the Microsoft Disability Answer Desk, and a Microsoft user calls in, right? They have no vision, and they're calling in on the phone, and something is up with their computer or one of the products on the computer, and you're trying to assist them. Right now, if you use Be My Eyes, you actually have a live video feed of what's happening in front of the user that's calling. So we see that resolution times are much faster. The typical call takes about 19 minutes. When you do a video call, it only takes 12 minutes. That's
an impressive reduction. It streamlines the process for people and gives people one more, mechanism or way to interact with the support desk to get the help they need. That's great. So, Laurel, how are our partnerships important in your work?
Well, partnerships are important to us just as they are the other amazing technologies that we're talking about. We couldn't expand accessibility for those with hearing loss without these partnerships. And so over the years, we've worked with several partners to specifically provide connectivity to phones, including Apple and Google. But our partnership with the Bluetooth Special Interest Group is the one that's most interesting for the Bluetooth Low Energy Audio connection. And, it's an interesting story because in 2013, the European Hearing Aid Manufacturers Association actually approached the Bluetooth Special Interest Group and said, hey, we need a different Bluetooth. We need a Bluetooth that actually has better sound quality, lower power consumption, and even broadcast audio. So we need something that would be just for people with hearing loss. And the Bluetooth Special Interest Group actually accepted our request, and that was the beginning of Bluetooth Low Energy Audio. So what is amazing is that a a real small industry, the hearing aid industry, is actually driving this Bluetooth low energy audio profile. We've had engineers in our company and other engineers, but engineers in Bluetooth SIG who have really worked closely on the new protocol. So, we wouldn't have been able to do it without that partnership with Bluetooth. And it was through the Bluetooth SIG where we actually started our partnership with Microsoft. So there were engineers from Microsoft and engineers from our company that were both on that Bluetooth special interest group. And they started to talk about this partnership. And through the partnership, we've actually been to Microsoft and we fit 20 engineers with Resound Nexia hearing aids. And we actually have some footage of this. The audiologist is Jill. She's from my team, my audiology team. And then you'll see some engineers being fit and actually talking a little bit about their experience.
Hi, I'm Jill Mecklenburger, Principal Audiologist with Resound. We're currently going through a revolution of what hearing aids do for our customers. Bluetooth Low Energy Audio allows for wireless audio to stream directly to and from a hearing aid while still delivering the long battery life expected by the user. The new Resound Nexia hearing aid starts with our top-rated hearing performance in noisy environments and enhances it by adding this new Bluetooth technology, opening the door to a new world of capabilities. When out and about, users will be able to tune in to Auracast broadcasts such as a silent TV at the gym. And when at home or at the office, these hearing aids can be paired directly to a Windows PC with Bluetooth Low Energy Audio to stream media, take calls, and even control ambient sound and audio presets for your hearing aids. We're excited to partner with Microsoft to design and validate the experience when Resound Nexia and Windows come together. This partnership brings our decades of hearing aid expertise together with the latest Microsoft technology, and we're thrilled to have so many members of Microsoft's Hard of Hearing community helping test and give feedback as our engineering teams work to bring this experience to customers.
Hey, I'm Daniel. A lot of people call me Gonzo. I'm a software engineer here at Microsoft, and I've been wearing hearing aids since I was 3 years old. In that time span of my life, the technology's kind of grown in a lot of cool and interesting ways. The most exciting for me was 6 years ago when I first got hearing aids that had Bluetooth support. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I can connect my phone to my hearing aids and listen to music and take phone calls and stuff. So that's a feature I use pretty much all the time. If I'm ever taking a phone call out in public, I connect it straight to my hearing aids and I can mute the outside world. It's also a superpower in a way, because if I'm on an airplane and there's a crying baby, I can just turn off the microphone and hear just the music just fine. The thing that was always missing for me was to put this, to be able to connect my hearing aids to my computer, which would be super exciting for a lot of reasons. First, I'll be able to connect my hearing aids to my laptop. So as I'm out in the wild or working remotely or traveling and taking calls, it'd also be fun as a software engineer to kind of be beta testing this feature as it's in development. I'm pretty picky about user experience and stuff with the types of things I do here at work. So it'll be fun to be working with a team directly that's making this feature come to life, because, well, there's a lot of deaf people out in the wild that use hearing aids, and I imagine there's like big overlap between those who also use Windows. So I feel like it's my mission to make sure that it's good.
We've been able to then work with those engineers to develop and test the connection for Windows support. So, this has really been incredible in terms of getting things to work, the sound quality. We've learned, to do some things. Windows is actually implementing some new things along the way to actually make the sound quality even better for people with hearing aids. So without these kinds of connections, we wouldn't be able to get these things to work, to really open up accessibility to Teams and Windows for people with hearing loss.
I think those are great examples of extending your reach and then working with the disability community to get that real-time feedback. So Laura, what's coming next that you can share with us?
Well, what's coming next is also part of Bluetooth Low Energy Audio. Part of that protocol has something called Auracast. And everyone listening here today is going to learn about Auracast because this is going to change how all of us listen in public. So we're going to start to see many consumer electronics, earbuds, not just hearing aids, but hearing aids, cochlear implants, earbuds, headphones that will be equipped with low energy audio. I think the Bluetooth SIG says about 3 billion low energy audio devices by 2027. So we're going to see a huge increase in these devices. And then if you go into a place that is Auracast equipped, you will be able to connect to that Auracast sound stream direct to that device. One example would be if you went into a sports bar and there were lots of TVs to choose from, you would have an Auracast stream coming from every one of those TVs, and you could connect to it. And the way this will work is like we do Wi-Fi today. So you know how you go someplace and you get the Wi-Fi network and you connect to it? Well, you'll be looking for the Auracast networks, and they'll be named. So if you had multiple TVs, you would have an Auracast network for each one of those TVs, and you'll just choose the one. But think about it from the perspective of someone with hearing loss. You know, they'll go into a movie theater and they'll be able to connect to that Auracast stream. They'll go into the airport and be able to get the airport messages on an Auracast stream. They'll be able to go to the gate at the airport and there'll be a separate Auracast stream for the gate. So they won't be missing these public announcements. You can think of so many venues that will use this kind of technology. I can't remember, again, Bluetooth SIG has estimates. I think it's 2.5 billion transmitters worldwide by 2030. So these things are happening quickly. If you were to search the internet, you'll see Bluetooth low energy audio transmitters and devices. We see TVs already that have Bluetooth low energy audio. So Auracast, you know, it will change how all of us communicate. I think we'll appreciate it no matter if you have hearing loss or not. But I think it's being driven by hearing loss and the importance of having that kind of broadcast communication. So Auracast is really exciting, and that's what's on the horizon.
That's amazing technology. And as we said earlier, you know, it further creates a more seamless experience for people using hearing aids. That's amazing. So Mark, let's jump over to you. I know you've got a new sign language automation project coming up soon. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So last year we were able to sponsor 4 young deaf people to train as translators. So we're increasing the talent pool of human translators. But the next thing that we want to look at is how we ethically automate sign language to truly deliver at scale, because there's nowhere near enough translators. There's only 35 deaf translators in the UK and only about 300 and something in the States. So automation is necessary, but in an ethical way.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you've talked about how that can be a challenge.
Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that deaf talent remains the beneficiaries of projects like this. So that's where our focus will be.
Right. And Jesper, I think you've got some exciting updates to share with us today.
Yes, definitely. So last year we launched a new feature called Be My AI. And what we found is that the volunteer calls, they work great. But we wanted to provide our users with a choice. We heard a lot of feedback about how they use the volunteer calls. You know, it might be Monday morning before you've had your first cup of coffee. It might be your house is messy, or you just don't feel like, you know, talking to a stranger on the phone right now. And also, like many of our users say, they don't want to lose their independence or be a burden on others. And, you know, we all know what happened with AI last year and the announcements from OpenAI. And the thinking was, you know, what if our users could have an AI assistant available 24/7 to see for them, right? And a lot of the use cases are the same that I mentioned before. It's like, you know, matching your clothes, figuring out, is this the green sweater or the blue sweater? But there's also a whole range of digital use cases that I don't think we thought about initially, but that's something we learned along the way. Like just, you know, understanding images online, charts and graphs that are either inaccessible or where the text provided doesn't convey what the user is really looking for. With Be My AI, you can now actually get a very thorough description of any image, whether it's online or a photo that you've taken. And like as an example of how this, like, you know, how our users just are very different in how they use the service, right? We have someone who was one of the very first Be My Eyes users for the call functionality, that is the original feature. We have someone who did 18 calls in 9 years. And within the 6 months of Be My AI launching, right, she did 750 image descriptions. So like there is a whole different way of using this where it's much more immediate. There's less barrier to sort of like, you're not making a call, you're just, you know, you're really just using a computer or using your phone. So what we've seen since we launched and is a request, you know, from all our users who are also Windows users. They've eagerly requested that Be My AI is available, you know, on Windows, both for sort of personal or home use cases and also work-related professional use cases. And like we completely agree. Like we want to be where our users are and where they see a use for our service. So it makes a ton of sense to have Be My Eyes on your desktop or laptop computer. So in order to meet that demand, we are extremely pleased and excited to announce that Be My Eyes will be available on Windows worldwide this summer through the Microsoft Store for both Windows 11 and 10 and any kind of PC that runs Windows.
That's going to be an absolute game changer for people.
We have a couple of demo recordings of how Be My Eyes on Windows is going to look. This is a very early alpha version, but I think it should give you a good impression of how it's going to look, how it's going to work. What we're going to see is a photo in a Facebook post and how you can get that described. And then there's also an example of a chart. It could be online or in a PowerPoint presentation that has a chart or a graph that may not be accessible, or the accessible text that's provided may not actually convey what the user is looking for.
Facebook work Microsoft Edge window. Visit Copenhagen is in Copenhagen, Denmark. Article link may be an image of two people, hat shop, and text. Photo viewer dialog may be an image of two people, hat shop, and text tag photo group, tag photo button. Copy image, menu item, 3 of 13, menu key Y. Copy to clipboard. Be My Eyes window, describe clipboard shortcut Shift+V, button, collapsed. Please wait, Be My AI is writing a message. Be My AI, the picture shows a young girl wearing a brown hat and a striped green and blue sweater. She is standing at a counter with an old-fashioned cash register to her left. She is holding a pomegranate in her right hand and appears to be playing shopkeeper. On the counter, there are several bottles with brown liquid, possibly meant to be syrups or sauces, and a scale to the right. In the background, there's a sign that says "Tak for a du ritter op," smiley face, which translates to "thank you for cleaning up," smiley face in Danish. There's also a woven heart decoration hanging on the wall. The scene seems to be set up for imaginative play. Question to ask the AI, edit. What kind of hat is the girl wearing? Please wait, Be My AI is writing a message. Be My AI, the girl is wearing a brown fedora hat with a darker brown band around it. Teaching notes on population growth, work, Microsoft Edge window. Historic estimates with future projections based on the UN medium fertility scenario. Table, button. Chart, button. Graphic. Be My Eyes window. Describe my screen shortcut Shift plus F10, button, collapsed. Please wait, Be My AI is writing a message. Be My AI, the image is a chart titled Population by World Region, showing historic estimates with future projections based on the UN medium fertility scenario. The chart is a stacked area graph that represents the population size of different world regions from 1800 to 2100. Question to ask the AI, edit. What is the trend shown in the graph? Please wait, Be My AI is writing a message. Be My AI, the trend shown in the graph indicates a significant increase in the global population over time. Starting from 1800, the population grows slowly until it begins to rise more steeply around the 20th century. The most notable increases are seen in the populations of Asia and Africa. The graph projects that this upward trend will continue into the future, with the global population expected to reach around 10 billion by the year 2100. The population of Asia is the largest and continues to grow, while Africa's population shows a rapid increase, especially in the latter part of the 20th century and into the 21st century. The populations of other regions such as Europe, North America, South America, and Oceania are also growing, but at a much slower rate compared to Asia and Africa.
So Jesper, can you tell us about what the developer experience was like building the app on Windows platform?
Sure, Laurie. It was easier than we expected. We chose the React Native for Windows platform because, like, one, we have web development experience, and we would like to reuse some of our web code, and two, like, we really like the native integration and functionality, such as camera capture that is available in React Native. Another critical benefit is the native integration container that's in that offers like accessibility and animation out of the box with no extra work for us. So we did what we're demoing today. We did in only a few weeks. We started actually just after Christmas. And within a month, we had a prototype up and running, which is what we're demoing today.
You mentioned it helps people maintain their independence, but it also it helps people maintain their privacy. So if they need assistance and they don't necessarily want to share out information with a sighted volunteer, it gives them a better way to maintain not only their independence but also their privacy.
Exactly.
And thanks for sharing all these exciting announcements. I'm sure everyone joining us today is going to be really excited and anxiously awaiting these new features. So as we think about the audience watching today, which industries are you particularly interested in, and how can folks reach out to you? So Mark, we'll start with you.
So if you're in banking or healthcare, we'd be delighted to chat. But actually, any sector that is interested in serving its deaf customers better, it's so quick and easy to integrate with Signly. We can do a trial so you can get feedback. So find us in Marketplace or drop us an email, and let's try and effect a change together.
And Laurel?
I think the industries would be restaurants and airports and churches and any public place where someone could better communicate if the sound was going straight into their hearing aids or into their earbuds. So I really think that the faster that we can get people putting the transmitters in public spaces and getting all of the Auracast up and running, the better off people with hearing loss will be.
And then Jesper?
Yeah, if you're in any kind of like B2C business or work in customer support or in a contact center and you're looking to make your customer support accessible, please go to BeMyEyes.com and reach out to us.
So my last question for all of you is, what are you excited about for the future that's going to build on the work that you shared with us today? And Jesper, we'll start with you.
So I think at Be My Eyes, like we think that AI will profoundly improve accessibility and assistive technologies in the future. Right, in the future, we've seen like computers are now able to see, like they can hear and understand what we're saying and what our intentions are. They can talk back to us in human-like voices. So, like from here on, like the AI models will only get better and faster. Like we're going to see local on-device models that can do what Be My AI does today. We'll get to a point where AI can give visual assistance on a live video stream, just like if you had a human guiding you. And I think that's like for specifically for our community who are blind and have low vision, like it will change what it means to be blind. And there's a whole other range of use cases, I think, where AI will help, if you are, with assistive technology. So there's so much potential, and we're just at the beginning of this.
I think it's going to be fascinating to see how our interaction with all of our devices evolves and changes over the next few years. So Mark, how about you? What are you looking forward to in the future?
I think we will see this year the beginnings of sign language at scale, and it seems to me to be long overdue. It's 2024, and blind and low vision users, there's some great assistive tech, like we've just seen, but for deaf sign language users, not so much. So it will be brilliant to see the power of AI, when ethically harnessed, delivering the beginnings of sign language becoming part of the mainstream, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. And making it scalable. So Laurel, we'll wrap it up with you.
Great. I think what I'm most excited about is having more hearing aid users having Bluetooth Low Energy in their devices. So Resound Nexia is the first product with this in there, but I think, we'll see that with everyone. And once you have that in a standard protocol, then any hearing aid user, it doesn't matter what hearing aid you're using, will be able to go into a public space and get those announcements and get all of that information that they've been missing. So, we've had connectivity to smartphones and to tablets and computers, but every manufacturer has been using a different protocol, some proprietary protocols, some Bluetooth Classic, and it just kind of makes for a lot of confusion in connecting to these computers and to the phones. And so, having that one protocol where everyone can connect to a modern phone, a modern computer, or go anywhere and get the public broadcast, it will just be amazing for people with hearing loss to have this available. So I can't wait. It's already exploding out there, but I cannot wait till it's in more hearing aids and more electronics.
Thanks so much, Laurel. And a huge thanks to all of our panelists today for sharing the great things that you're working on and giving us a preview of what's to come. Not only did we learn more about these exciting products and technologies, but we learned why they're important and why it's critical to co-create with the disability community. We encourage everyone to try out these new innovative experiences and share your feedback or unique use cases that you come up with. If you're an individual, learn how to reach out to us at aka.ms/DAD for our Disability Answer Desk. And for organizations, go to aka.ms/EDAD for our Enterprise Disability Answer Desk. Thank you for joining us today. Back to the studio.